Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Smash the like buttons, the share buttons. We're here for the next hour or so, and what a panel we have for you. An amazing panel tonight. I'm going to intro them in a minute, but big news to go through. Kieran Tierney out for almost the remainder of the season. How big is this news for the Gooners? We want your views, your opinions as ever. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that Man United have everything set ready to sign the great Jadon Sancho. They're just waiting on a final price. We're going to Rashford return to training, but is it too soon? Is Ollie and the team being too reckless with him and his career? We're going to be speaking to the panel about all these subjects, plus previewing the Europa League games tomorrow night. It's a gargantuan night in the histories of Arsenal and Manchester United, up against the might of, I think, Prague. I don't even know who Arsenal playing. Is it Slavia Prague? And Man United going up against Granada TV. And it's going to be an interesting night. But let's get the panel introduced first and foremost. Now, this gentleman is I'm so glad he's back on the terrace tonight. We've missed him here. It's man like Aaron back in the house doing his thing. We've got another Man United fan, probably the sexiest, best-looking Man United fan we have ever had on the show. It's man like Johnny in the house doing his thing. And Arsenal-wise, the looks we've got on this panel tonight are amazing. We've got him here, but he's thrown himself out the streams. That's hard for me to get him up without showing everybody else, but I'm going to have to do it this way around. There he is. It's man lucky Gal in the house with the potato Wi-Fi doing his thing all the way from the United States of America. Jessica's in the house here. Massive gooner. That is one of the best rooms. Look at that office as well. It's slick. It's clean. It's a good background as well. And making her debut on the Football Terrace tonight, it is Amy. Amy, welcome to the Football Terrace. I hope you are well. But good evening, everyone. How are you all doing?
Good.
Thank you.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah,
I'm loving all the intros, bro. I can't lie.
Yeah, exactly. It's all good. It's all good. The longer you're on, the more you get. But it's nice to have you all here. Big week of football ahead. Champions League tonight. Our teams play tomorrow. Lots going on. So it's an exciting week. What did you all make of the Champions League games last night?
Oh, it was mad.
I thought Real Madrid rolled back the ears a bit last night. It was a very entertaining game. Really enjoyed that game to watch. And I think Man City got away with it again. Another robbery. Friggin' Bellingham should have had that goal allowed. So, it's what happens when you grease palms, isn't it?
Listen, watching the Liverpool game, Terry, for me was a reality check. Liverpool destroyed us on Saturday. And watching them get destroyed by Real Madrid just said to me, yo, I don't think we're ready. We're not ready.
Bro, listen, I love you, Igal, but it was how many weeks ago was it? And we will keep sharing the clip. I think it was at the middle of March where you said the league table is lying. Arsenal were better than 9th. And we just roll in there. Bro, that clip is never going away. It's going to be integrated everywhere we go now. Aaron, mate, good to have you back on the channel.
Yeah, man, happy to be back, bro. I enjoyed last night as well. Champions League is always great night to watch some good football. And yesterday, like Johnny said, Real Madrid rolled back the years, man. You'd think with that lineup and the players that they have, they've fallen off a little bit, and then boom, they come with that huge amount of quality out of nowhere and just show you why they're still one of the greatest clubs.
Yeah, that chest control by Vinicius was disgusting.
Yeah, like I said, and Vinicius is one of those players if you watch him on a regular basis, you know how sometimes he's very, very wasteful of chances, and on another day he misses that. But yesterday, he's just on fire, man. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's Liverpool's luck. I think he scored like 2 or 3 goals all season, and last night almost that he kills it against Liverpool. And some fans had the audacity before the game to say Liverpool's midfield is saucier and better than that Real Madrid midfield. And last night, they're getting old now. But Modric and Toni Kroos and Casemiro, they just rolled back them years and said, "Listen, we're still the dons out here in the Champions League." Amy, thank you for making your debut on the Football Terrace today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Good that you're here, and you're donning the zebra shirt. I see.
I know, yeah, loud and proud.
I don't know what the other Reds think about that kit. I hated it when I first saw it, but the more I see it, the more I like it.
I'm exactly the same. When I first saw it, because the promotion shots were zebra socks, zebra shorts. I was like, no, but they're just playing the white shorts, and I think it looks okay. But I buy every kit, so Don't matter what it looks like to me.
There we go. And Jess here, how are you? How are things your end?
I mean, things are good. I enjoyed the Champions League yesterday. I think it's more enjoyable when your team is not in it, especially Arsenal, because we don't do well in the Champions League. So just sitting back and enjoying the games was great. Obviously, watching Liverpool get battered was, bittersweet. They battered us, but I thought that, that was what they kind of deserved. They're not that great. They're definitely better than us, but to think that their midfield is somehow better, they're workhorses. Right. But that Real Madrid midfield woke up and just showed them what real quality is, so that was a great game to watch. But yeah, I'm doing good over here besides the Kieran Tierney news, which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later.
And I think that's a good place to start. We've got lots to go through today. Igal, I know you're upset about this, but what does it spell for Arsenal season when you've lost arguably your best player this season?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be hard for us, Terry, because not only is he crucial for our defending and that left back role, he is crucial also for our attack and our build up from that left hand side and the overlaps and everything that he offers us from his crosses and his ability to just be able to shut down attackers on that right flank whenever we face a right winger, and especially with who they have. I'm not sure if Sims is going to be on that side or if there's going to be somebody else. But I've looked at how Slavia Prague scored some of their goals in the Europa League this season so far, and a lot of it has come from either cutbacks or crosses and someone coming in from the far post. So it's going to be a big blow. And the worst part about it is we got rid of Kolasinac and we never got a left back in the January window. So we weren't prepared properly for this situation to take place. And you know what? It took place, and now we're going to have to play either Cedric, Bukayo Saka, or even, dare I say, Callum Chambers in that role.
Wow. From your point of view, Jess, who do you think should step in and step up for Tierney now that he's out?
I think it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I do think we need to go ahead and put Bukayo Saka back there. I mean, you need somebody that can run up and down that sideline, and Cedric can't do that. I mean, he's deputized pretty well for Kieran Tierney in certain games, but with the weight on this game, I just think Bukayo Saka has to play left wing back. We need to Jimmy rig the entire lineup to make him successful in that left wing back type of position, and just play Pepe off of the right. He's a better option off of the right than Cedric is at left back, if that makes sense. So, you're just picking, the best out of the two, but I think it's Saka all day long. It sucks, but is what it is, at this point.
I hear that.
Don't you think it's risky to experiment in one of our most important games?
Yeah, but either way, it's an experiment. Everything that we do at this point is going to be an experiment, against Sima, who's their best player on the right-hand side. Cedric, to me, is a glaring, come and attack me, versus if Saka's over there, then that means that he has to watch Saka. If I'm Sima, I'd rather see Cedric than Saka, right? That's how you're going to combat their best way of scoring, so it's a risk, but everything we do at this point is a risk. Cedric at left back is a risk, even though he's played there before, so that's just how I rationalize it.
I was talking about more about the Pepe part, but it's okay.
No, but Pepe's played right forward, like all season. Like, why would that be a risk?
I thought you put him
in. I like this bit of division already. Getting a bit spicy already, isn't it?
No, it's cool. Just as cool.
I just think a lot of people have differing opinions on whether Pepe can perform at this level and if it's going to be risky for him to play, off of the right in such a big game when Saka is so good, but I think he's inconsistent because he doesn't get a lot of playing time, but if he goes in and he doesn't play well, then maybe, I don't know. Everything is a risk. I kind of get what Igal is saying there, but I'd rather see Saka at left back, to be honest.
No, I get where you're coming from. Aaron, from your point of view, who would you put? Would it be Saka or Suarez? Who would you go for to fill the void left by Tierney?
As much as I think Saka should play at left back, I have a strong feeling like Arteta would want to keep that attacking threat in Saka, and he'll play Suarez or Cedric on as a left back. I feel like he's I'm not saying he's trying to replicate what Pep's doing with Cancelo, playing a right back at left back who's also good at like going forward. But it looks like he's trying to do that, and he's been quite decent in that position. in the few games that I've seen him play in that position. And I think even, if I'm not wrong, even for Portugal once he played in that position, or right back, I can't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's going to go with Cedric. But that could be a huge risk because you're putting someone there who's not naturally left-footed and who's always going to naturally revert back to his right foot because that's his stronger foot. So it's a bit of a risk. So for security, I'd probably go with Saka because then you've got someone that's naturally left-footed who's familiar with that position and, you know, you can run it up and down the wing like Igal said. I'll go for Saka.
Can I just say just really quick, just on what Aaron is saying, like the balance will be thrown off if you put Cedric on the left-hand side. You know, then we'll need to put another left footer in front of him. Then that means you don't play Emile Smith-Rowe there, who I'd like to see. So I think you keep left-footed there just for the sake of balance, you know, but Arteta spoke about it in his press conference that, you know, you have to make concessions. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Saka at left back. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't, you know.
I hear you on that. And I think for a right-footed fullback to play left back, you need to be very talented. I can only really think of two off the top of my head that have done it to an ample level at the elite end of the game, and Cancelo's one of them right now. And Dennis Irwin did it for Manchester United. It's something that's so hard to do on a consistent basis because at some point in that game, you're going to get caught with your foot in your mouth because you're basically, you know, it's like a right-handed fighter trying to fight southpaw. At some point in that fight, they're going to get caught because it isn't natural to them. It really is. Johnny, you look at it from a rival's point of view, Arsenal losing Tierney at this point ahead of what is their biggest game of the season. Do you think it could be the difference between, you know, is it do they have enough quality remaining to get through this round of the Europa League? Or do you think actually, look, they're far too strong for Slavia Prague and it shouldn't really matter?
I think biggest compliment I can give to Kieran Tierney is when I watch him play, it reminds me so much of Ashley Cole, the way he gets up and down the wing and the way he runs at defenders and he takes them on and he skins them. And I think it's such a key injury to Arsenal. And I think when you lose a personality, not so much his personality because he's a young kid, but the ability and his attributes that he brings to the team, I think when you lose something like that, that can have an effect on the team's mentality. And that might, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It just might seep into the psyche and because it's such a void on the left-hand side. But having said that, let's not discredit Saka. Right, Saka's a baller. I've watched him play many times. He's impressed me more often than he's left me with questions. And I think he's more than an adequate replacement. And I think they'll be fine. I do think they'll be fine with Saka. I can't really comment on Cedric because I haven't really watched him play. I don't really know much of him, to be honest. But what I've seen of Saka is very versatile. He's got a great touch. He's composed on the ball. And I think he will do a sufficient job.
There we go. Viewers, we want to know what you think and feel about Tierney being out injured. Who should cover in that left back position for Arsenal? Get your comments in now. Get your live chats in and make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Big shout out, by the way, to our title sponsors, Manscaped. You can still get 20% off of all of their male grooming products now using our promo code TFT. The link for that is in the description below. And of course, shout out to everybody over at Give Me Sport and Snack. More to come from that very, very soon. So they tell me soon, I think. We had a meeting today. They said, yes, it's coming. It's on the way. It's long, though. It's a lot of hard work. Right? It's a lot of work. I'm like, right, great. Man United, though. And there's a couple of bits to speak about with Man United before we preview tomorrow's games. The first one's kind of exciting. Fabrizio Romano said, I want to verbatim what he said yesterday is Man United are not working. They're not working now to sign Sancho, as they have everything set to sign him. They've always been in contact with these agents and they know the board well at Borussia Dortmund. They are just waiting for the final price to be handed to them. I listened to him say it and I've read the words. It sounded pretty ominous and it felt to me one step away from here we go. It's like Man United are waiting to be told it's 80 or it's 90 and they're going to go for him. There's been a lot of reports in the last few days. The Athletic have said Man United will focus hugely on someone on the right-hand side of the attack as opposed to the Haaland or the Harry Kane central striker. Do you think that Jadon Sancho is still that key player that we need, Aaron? Now, we spoke about it a lot last year. Is it good news to hear someone like Fabrizio talk about this? Yeah,
so when you hear Jadon Sancho coming to United, it's always good news. And I feel like it is going to happen this time. When you talked about the price tag, do you know what? It could actually go to the point where we pay less than 80, you know, because Listen, Dortmund are 5th right now, and I watched them play against Frankfurt last weekend. They lost. They're in 5th place now, like I said, 7 points away from Frankfurt, who are 4th. That means they're pretty much guaranteed to not play any Champions League football next season, unless Frankfurt go on a mad one and just lose all of their games for the rest of the season, which I can't see happening. So Jadon Sancho in the Europa League next season, I can't see that happening. So Dortmund are going to have to sell. And they're not in that position anymore to demand whatever amounts of money that they want. Like last season, it's 120 million euros or nothing else. This season, we can go to them and say, listen, we're going to give you that, and it's this or nothing else. And they have to take the money because they're losing money with not having fans inside the stadium and etc. etc. So I can see that happening. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm confident, but it looks more likely for Sancho to come, this time rather than last year.
Absolutely. Amy, a lot of United fans have been debating this for weeks. Centre forwards needed. It's the most important. Some believe it's the right-hand side of the attack. Where do you sit on that debate? Central striker or right-hand side of the attack? And how much do you think Jadon Sancho would elevate Manchester United?
So I definitely do believe that the right is needed more. We've got Cavani. He gets no service whatsoever. Haaland, I didn't watch last night because I was football training, but I looked at some highlights and everything, and judging what people said, that Haaland's a player that needs service as well. So if I was going to pick out of the two, it would definitely be Sancho, because we just need to provide the strikers a service. So it would be pointless as spending big money on a striker when we can't, give them opportunities to score goals. So I think he'll be a great addition. I think he's a fantastic player. And our right side is completely dead. Look at Luke Shaw, how much he's improved the left-hand side, and been getting assists and been playing fantastic. But on our right-hand side, we've got Wan-Bissaka, and he can't get forward very well. So we definitely need to lighten it up and just improving that aspect of the game. So I think definitely right mid and central defence are the two positions that we need to fill, more importantly.
I hear that. I do hear that completely. The right-hand side for me and the creative spark is definitely needed. We have a super chat here that says, I doubt Dortmund will sell 2 key stars in one window.
They'll have to.
They will if they don't make the Champions League. And without being disrespectful to any Dortmund fans that are watching, you are a selling club. You buy young, and it's all been revealed this week. Pep was a little cheeky with it. A lot of these German clubs are giving extortionate agent fees, but for low transfer fees of these young up-and-coming talents, just so they can sell them on for a profit later. It's how they make their money. So Dortmund will do it. And where Dortmund are going to have a bit of egg on their face is United offered nearly £100 million last year. And I agree with Aaron wholeheartedly. United will pick him up for between 15 to 25 million pound less. Jess, from your point of view as a Gooner, you're looking at this news, Man United linked to Jadon Sancho. How big a signing do you think that will be for Man United and the Premier League?
Well, I think it's a big signing in terms of prestige, almost like for Manchester United to get one of the biggest young talents in the world. That puts you in a category of being able to really compete, and Chelsea usually gets the jump on those types of players, and that would put you guys kind of in the mix. I think with this, similar to what you guys have kind of already said, sometimes it's about opportunities as well. You may not have the same opportunity to get Haaland as you do Jadon Sancho, so that may drive the decision as well. So I think Sancho, that's a huge signing for you guys. You need creativity. You have central forwards that can probably add to more goals to their game, but I agree that it's more about they're not getting the service that they need. Adding a CDM would probably help you guys as well. Release more, put more resources towards the front so that you guys could create more chances. Once you guys do that, that's puts you in a completely different category, closer to Man City and chance creation and goal scored and things like that. You guys are already good offensively. That's just going to make you even better, especially with Wan-Bissaka, who's a shutdown defender on the right-hand side. Sancho can do whatever he wants. So to me, I think that's the perfect move for you guys. It was supposed to happen last summer, and I think the only reason why it didn't happen was the pandemic. So now you're going to get him at a cut price deal. He wants to go there, and good for y'all. Like that's a really good signing for you guys.
And if Man United can end the season well, I pray we win this Europa League, finish second in the league, sign in a Jadon Sancho. Johnny, would that make you more optimistic ahead of the next year? Because we know, listen, I respect what you do. You're not the most optimistic of Man United fans, especially of late on socials, bro. Like
I'm realistic.
You're realistic, but you're not optimistic in terms of. Would that make you more positive, or would you still sit there and say it doesn't really matter if we get Sancho? We've got Ollie. We're doomed.
In the short answer, yes, we're doomed. Is what it is. The reasons, yeah. Give him Sancho, okay? Roll on to next season. Like I say, I feel like I'm a broken record. Liverpool are going to be back to full strength. Chelsea have had the time under Tuchel, right? Leicester got a brilliant man under Brendan Rodgers. I just think in terms of the level of managers he's competing against, he's out of his depth, right? So give him Sancho next year. He's still got to gel the team. With the tools that he's got now, we don't play fluid football as it is now. So you give him a Sancho, is it going to improve it? Yeah, it'll improve it to a degree because Jadon Sancho is a quality player. He's going to bring his own attributes to the team. And the individual brilliance that he brings is definitely going to elevate the team. Nobody can deny that. But you still have to gel the entire team together. And we're not gelled now. So I think it's going to take more than a Sancho for Ollie to be, swim with the Sharks and survive next year.
I hear you on that, Aaron. We obviously know your thoughts on Ollie, which is fair. Everyone, I've said myself, I think he's reached his ceiling. The one good bit of news about landing Sancho-esque players is Ollie gets no more excuses.
Yeah, and I think next season, if we do land Sancho, I wouldn't be surprised if everyone says, "Listen, this Premier League, even though realistically we shouldn't be winning it with the way we play football." Everyone's going to say, like, listen, you've got Sancho now. Like you said, Terry, there's no excuses anymore. Like, yeah, but you need Sancho. Yeah, now you've got Sancho. So what can you do with the team that you got? It's going to be a very good signing, but it's about how you can use the new weapon that you've got, to your arsenal right now.
Exactly.
Now you've got multiple weapons to go to war, but it's what you do with it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons everyone knows my view on Ollie. I love and respect him as a legend. I think he's reached his ceiling as a coach. But I want him to get that centre-back CDM right-hand side of attack and no one else to leave. Because then what happens is there's no excuse from an Ollie inner point of view. You can't say he hasn't got a good squad, a strong squad, and all the holes filled. But then if he also delivers with that team, then I think from an Ollie outer point of view, which I kind of put myself into in the terms of I don't think he can take us much further. If he then improves and we're in title challenges and we win trophies, then we can say,
me.
You won't, because you'll do it, Johnny. Because I know, and without putting words in anyone's mouth, I know if we sign these three players we're after, and the football improves, the performances improve, we win more games, you start winning trophies. Everyone will just go, I kind of got it wrong, but I'm going to celebrate my team winning. Like it's not going to sort of be, I'm going to double down and look for these crazy excuses like a lot of trolls on social media think people do. From your point of view, Igal, you see this news, what Fabrizio has said. Is it a scary thought from your point of view as an Arsenal fan to see Man United, another team already in front of you, linked with one of the best football players in the world?
Of course, because that means you guys know your first target. You've identified your first target, and even though you didn't get him last summer, you know what, the team didn't go and get a Rafinha or a Neto and be like, you know what, we're settling for the second or third option. You guys have stick by your guns and gotten your first option. And that, if you remember, Terry, we even talked about this during the transfer window when it ended. You said if Manchester United now go back in and get Jadon Sancho over the line after this whole debacle last summer, it kind of makes sense if they get it for a cheaper deal. And this is your chickens coming home to roost. And as rivals, we should be like, you know what, this is a scary thought, because you already have a good enough attack to be up there at the top of the table. If you add a Jadon Sancho, add another midfielder, and add another piece to the puzzle, you could be 2 to 3 pieces away, like I said at the beginning of the season.
Could be the case. I think it's one of those things. Watch this space.
Just to add to it, Terry, before I move on. I also think for the Man United board to restore a little bit of respect and reputation amongst their peers, the Chelsea, the Liverpools, the Cities, I almost think that they have to land Sancho. I just think they need to like try and put Man United back on the map and back in the main conversation. I think that it's such a key signing, Sancho. It's such a big name. Like he's like another Pogba in there, but obviously he's younger. That's how big he is and how much he's known. And I really think like they have to land him.
It's true.
But if you get him, does Pogba leave?
Sorry?
I
if
don't
you
really
guys
think.
get Sancho, oh, sorry.
Right,
No.
go on, Amy first, then Gal, please. Thank you.
And I was just saying, I don't really think that like the Glazers really care what the fans think. I think that they just see it as a business. I think, you know, it's Manchester United. If back in the day, if they wanted a player, they would go out and get a player. It wouldn't be spread over 2 summer transfer windows. So I think Ollie's got a budget and he's got to prioritise. And I think if we do get Sancho, it'll leave us with very little money to spend elsewhere.
That could be the case. Igal, you were going to say something?
Would you guys rather Jadon Sancho comes in and subsequently means you have to sacrifice Paul Pogba or lose somebody else, or forget about Jadon Sancho and you get in subsequently other pieces?
So, yeah, I was about to ask a very similar question.
Sorry.
And no, they've got to say sorry, bro. That's what we're here for. It's a conversation. I tell you what worries me. If we get Jadon, but we sell Martial, you can argue the level of creativity is increased, but the overall squad depth remains the same, weak, because there isn't anybody. But if Jadon gets injured or gets rotated, it's man like Dan James stepping into the fray, or Pereira comes back. The most important thing for me is that we buy these players, but nobody else is. Maybe Cavani goes. We can't be losing Rashfords, Martials, Pogbas, and becoming a bit like one in, one out. That for me is no good. We need to behave like Man United of old, where we keep our best players and we add to it, not lose one good player and replace him with another. For me, it's one step forward, one step back.
No, but you missed a part of the where if you don't get a Sancho, but you keep Pogba, I see you guys going for a Neto or a Rafinha. Would you still be satisfied?
Right,
would you still be satisfied?
I would, yeah. I would, because the two players you just named there, I'm a big fan of Rafinha, especially.
Yeah, they're talented footballers. It's if we don't get any of them and then we sign another Dan James, you know, we get another Oberkan. That's where it becomes a problem. You know what I mean?
Another fear is we know the board, they drag their heels with deals. And if Pogba does indeed leave, that deal is going to take such a long time to get finalised, because they're going to try to squeeze every last penny out of Pogba. And then you've got the Euros, right? Where's this time coming for the board to get these other players in? And I'm genuinely worried that if Pogba goes, we're not going to get an adequate replacement.
And there's a lot of conversations about this new structure. So I'm very skeptical. And I know, like Aaron, I've seen your tweets, bro. We're all skeptical. If these deals are done quickly and fast and professionally, then I'll be like, okay, maybe they're changing. It's if they're the same longed out, drawn out media sagas. John Myrtle and Fletcher, do one. Like I ain't want to listen to anything you got to say anymore, because you just same toffee with a different wrapper on it, and it ain't what we need. Speaking of not what we need, Ollie, I want to ask the Gooners this question first. I really want a rival's perspective for the United crew speak. Is Ollie in panic mode? And when I say that, Marcus Rashford is continually getting little knocks, little injuries at the moment. He comes off on Sunday after complaining that his ankle was too sore. He's already back in training. It looks like he's about to be played in this game again by the way he's training, the way he's speaking about. Do you think Ollie's panicking in terms of his desperation to win and putting Rashford's body and career at risk by continuing to play him? I'm going to Jess first on that.
I mean, potentially, I think that the coaches work with, the physios, and they make a decision on the risk versus the reward of playing players that are not at 100%, so maybe for them, they see that the reward for playing him is bigger than the risk, but from somebody who has continuously looked at Arteta as somebody who plays players into the red zone, and then we get pretty much the harshest punishment for it. Players out for 4 or 5 weeks, young players at that. I think it's really, really difficult. Rashford is an amazing player, but he's out a lot with injuries. But I think maybe they're looking at the options other than Rashford and thinking, I'd rather have a 60% Rashford than 100% Dan James or somebody like that. Whether that's the right thing or not, I'm not sure, but you have to think about his career long-term. He's still young, lots of injuries, and the Euros are coming up as well. He's an important player for England too, so those are things to consider, but it is worrying considering that the majority of the time that I think about Rashford, it's like my thought process is good player, good young player, injuries. those are the things I think about,
Aaron, do you agree with that?
Absolutely. See what Jessica said there. Long term, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about Rashford's career, beyond 30 years, because the way things are going right now, I feel like they're killing him, and I feel like he's killing himself because he loves the club so much that he wants to play every single game and prove to the fans that he loves the club that much by playing every single game, even if it means he has to play injured. And, fair enough. If fans are happy that he's back training, then I respect that. But we've seen it before.
Aaron, what about the situation where if he doesn't get into the team and you guys lose the game convincingly, and then everyone's going to be on Ollie's case? Why didn't he play? This is why I feel like when managers make decisions and we constantly criticize, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. And Manchester United specifically,
one player should not define.
I'm saying this because
let me finish my point. Manchester United specifically, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has played a lot of your players, and they're up there with the most minutes in Europe with Harry Maguire and some of these players you guys have in your team. Maybe that's the reason why you guys have some continuity and cohesion in the league, because you constantly have similar players on that pitch.
Oh,
Wow.
Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back.
For a second, mate. Your last bit cut off. Now you're muted.
You can't hear us now.
No, what I was saying is this, and I understand what Igal's saying, but what I was saying is, remember last season when, before the pandemic, we went to the games and we watched all the games and stuff, and me and Norden were sat next to each other, and for 3 games in a row, I think 3 home games in a row, he kept telling me like, Aaron, there's something wrong with Rashford, and I couldn't see it. He's like, he's walking different, he's limping. And I was like, what, limping? Nah. But then I saw it when we played Wolves away in the FA Cup. We went to the Molineux, he played, and then we drew, so he had to do a replay at Old Trafford. And that's when I saw it. And then obviously he picked up that injury, got taken off the pitch, and then that double stress fracture happened. So my point is, the reason why I'm saying this is because we seen it last season. If we didn't have that long break with the pandemic, Rashford probably would have played on and all these things, and the injury probably would have been worse. Who knows? So my point is, I just want Rashford. Fair enough. If he doesn't play and we lose, that's just how the game goes. But my point is, Rashford needs to think about his career long term, because he's taken, like, we live in a generation where you've got the best physio, and it's not like you're playing for, with all due respect, it's not like you're playing for, I don't know, Huddersfield, or you're playing for Manchester United. You've got the best of the best when it comes to the medical stuff, the physios, the surgeries, everything. You've got the best people around you to give you advice on how to come back as quick as possible. So my thing is, he has to think about his career long term, because if he's not careful, he might be done by the time he's 27, 28 at this point. And this is what I'm fearing for. We've seen it. Everyone said, oh, he's training again. Then he played against AC Milan. He was completely inexistent. It was like he weren't even on the pitch. And then he comes off at half time, and then we're, as United fans, we're having to hear after the game, Rashford wasn't even fit 100%, and he actually started the game injured. And these are the kind of things that I'm like, but yeah, fair enough. The medical staff said, yeah, cool, green light, he can play, etc., etc. But as a player, you know your body better than everyone else. If you don't feel like you can play, just do not play. Take the time to recover properly, and then when you're 100% fit, then you can play. I feel like they're killing him. I don't think players.
I'm sorry, Eric. I don't think players think like that. I think they think, if I can play, I'm going to. Like, I literally think that's what they think. Like, Saka is very similar in that way, where it's like, we could tell that he hasn't been 100% fit for a while. He's had games where he's been almost non-existent, but he played anyway. I think when they ask players, can you play? I just think, especially Rashford, he's a Manchester United through and through type player. I have a hard time believing that he would ever say, even at 60, 70% fitness, I can't play for my team, especially when he knows that he's really needed.
And I understand what you're saying, Jessica, but I think as fans, we know that he's Manchester United through and through. Rashford doesn't need to prove that to me, because I've seen it already. I know that. And I've given a few examples last time when I spoke about it with a few of my boys, and I said, back in the day, what was it, 2009, when Robin first signed for when Robin moved from Real Madrid to Bayern Munich. At the start of his career at Bayern Munich, this guy was out with the slightest injury. He was out. And the Bayern Munich fans were fuming. They were calling him all sorts of names. Oh, he's always out. He's always out. He's always out. Injured. Look at his career. He had one of the longest careers out here with the likes of, the biggest football legends that we've all known and we've seen play and all of these things. So my point is, your career could be done before you're 30 years. And for me, I wouldn't want that for someone like Rashford, because I think he's a talented player. There's a lot for him in store. He could play a lot of tournaments in the future, and it's just not good for him. It's really not good for him. This guy was injured, came off against AC Milan. Everyone knew he was injured. What does Manchester United do after the game? Can Rashford be fit for Sunday? I'm like, come on. You're not doing him any favours. On top of that, international break, the guy travels with the England squad, and someone told me about this and I didn't know. You know, when you watch the England YouTube account and then the players come in and they film the players coming in and shake hands and all these things, the guy came in limping. And I'm just like, what's going on? How do you allow someone to leave his club limping, arriving at the England squad, limping, and we can see it on camera? Like, something's wrong. Like, who's not telling him, Rashford, just stop for a minute and just chill out? Who's not telling him that? So those are the things that I have issues with. I just don't get it.
I understand that view completely. Amy, what's your stance on this? Is this something that Ollie should be controlling, or is it down to the player to protect himself?
So I definitely do think there's really bad management in that sense, because last season the lad were playing whilst he had a fracture in his back. I mean, that's an injury that could potentially ruin your life. It's one of the things that will always be there. So it's gone from his back and he's having issues with his shoulder. He needs an operation. He's not going to get a break. He needs this operation. If he goes to Euros, he's not going to get this break. I just think that a few months ago, we should have just let him get his operation and just give him a few months to recover. And
yes.
But the thing is with Rashford, he's been a bit hit and miss, but he has scored. He's been our top scorer. So I think he's been our top scorer. He's been one of them anyway. So imagine if he were fully fit, he'd be an absolute beast this season. He's managed to still score and everything. But you can tell, when he gets the ball, people are saying that his decision making is poor and it could get better. But I think a lot of it is just because he's lacking mobility in his upper half of his body. So I think he can't physically turn. Yep. And so I do think it's mismanagement there.
No, I hear that. Johnny, what's your thoughts on that as well?
I'm trying to get in on this one. This is what I call Ollie Mr. Self-Preservation. It's called Mr. Self-Preservation. He's not putting the team first. He's not putting Rashford first. He's putting that £27 million contract first. That's what he's thinking about. He wants the top four. Rashford is 50% of our goals. The other 50% is Bruno. You take Rashford out or Bruno out, Ollie's not getting that top four and he's not getting a new contract, right? Let's call it out. Some people may call me the cynic. I think his man management that he gets lauded for, I think that's a myth. I praise him for the way he handled the Pogba situation. Exemplary, brilliant. But then again, the ways he's running players into the ground, his favouritism. Yeah, we all know his go-to players. That's why Donny's getting, cobwebs on his feet on fucking shelf, right? He can't tell me he couldn't have integrated him into the team or his man management is a myth. It's all about him.
Again, I know a lot of people agree with that. Viewers, what do you think? Is this down to Rashford to protect himself? Should Ollie be doing more? Is it all Ollie's fault? We want your views and opinions. Make sure that like button is being smashed right now. Subscribe to the Football Terrace. Turn on the bell notifications. All that jazz. Sign up to our Discord server. And loads of stuff in the description that you can sign up to as well. Big games tomorrow. Big games tomorrow for our clubs. And not big in terms of, it's not Real Madrid, Liverpool or City, Dortmund, but big for our seasons. If we're being honest, it comes down to this. United look like they've secured top four. It looks like Arsenal may have just about secured a top half finish. Sorry, I couldn't help but throw that in there. From yourselves. But it all comes down to the tournament now. It's the only glimmer of actual tangible success that we have left. Jess, how confident are you of an Arsenal victory tomorrow and in this round in general?
I mean, I expect the unexpected with this team. We could blow them away. We could barely beat them. or we could lose. I'm very there with this team because I just don't know who's going to show up. Based on what I've seen from them, Slavia Prague, I think we should have enough to beat them. But that being said, the other team doesn't necessarily have to beat us. We can beat ourselves. And it's just about mindset. Can we shift, the mindset from whatever we were doing against Liverpool to knowing that we have to beat this team? I don't know. We're pretty good in Europe, but that doesn't mean that we're perfect. So I expect us to go. I would expect us to go through, but I wouldn't be surprised if something crazy happened. But I think we have enough to beat them, even with some of the injuries that we have to Luiz and Kieran Tierney, and maybe even Odegaard. He has an ankle injury as well.
I hear that. Aaron, as a rival looking at Arsenal, do you think if they've gone backwards in the league this year in terms of positions, if they don't win this tournament, or at the very least get to the final, because their half the draw is fairly simplistic by their standards, how much pressure do you think Mikel Arteta should be put under?
Ooh, I think he's already under huge pressure, and if they lose this tie, the pressure's going to be unbearable, and yeah, it could get sticky for him. But I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that tomorrow, a lot of people are going to root for Arsenal because obviously with what happened in the Slavia Prague Rangers game. So personally, I do want Arsenal to win. I want Aubameyang to score a hat-trick. I want him to do the Wakanda celebration. I want him to whip out the mask, everything. So that's that part about it. But yeah, I think if Arsenal really do lose this tie, it could get really sticky for Arteta. I know the board they've come out and backed him and publicly said that they want to keep him. They believe in his vision and etc. etc. But if they lose this tie, with the league position that they're in as well, and with the players out, Tierney out, David Luiz all of a sudden picked up an injury out of nowhere. I was on Instagram scrolling and I'm seeing her on the hospital bed. I'm like, what's happening? So it could get really sticky, man. They really need this.
This is what annoys me though, because like Arteta, quite rightfully, is going into a high pressure game and he should be under pressure, right? That's right. Ole, it's already come out that Ole don't even have to win bloody Europa League to get his new contract. So he's going into a game with no pressure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that new contract's done already. I think they're just waiting for the right moment to announce it. I think
they're what they're hoping for with that, and we will get onto it, is probably
Europa League.
Yeah, if they win the Europa League, then boom, we release that news. If not, it'll be done under a shadow there. There's no doubt. Gal, though, keep with Arsenal for a minute. Luis out, Tierney out, Xhaka doubtful, Smith Rowe. This is according to WhoScored.com. Smith Rowe doubtful, Saka doubtful, Martin Odegaard doubtful.
Bro, is it that many?
Like they're all your best players. Like that's your best players, bro.
Listen, the manager's under pressure. The players are under pressure because you have to look at it this way. A lot of these guys who are fighting for us to win this Europa League and try to get back into Champions League football have never been in the Champions League with Arsenal. Some of them haven't even played in the Champions League in their whole entire career. So this is bigger than just football for these guys. They're fighting for their careers. Let's be real. A lot of these guys are fighting for their careers and their time at Arsenal to prolong their careers. We've already seen what happened to Mustafi. He left Arsenal immediately. He's outed at Schalke. His career is pretty much done. It could happen to some of these players here at Arsenal right now. And this whole match is bigger than football for me. When it comes down to what happened that last game against Rangers, we have to do this for the whole culture. We have to do this for everybody. We have to win this tie. We have to make sure we don't concede a goal because we're at home, and that away goal could cause us a problem in the long run. They're gonna sit back and press us and try to get us on the counter and try to overload us on one side to get the thing. We need our midfielders to focus because we always have a lapse in concentration from our midfielders losing the ball. We cannot play it. We cannot be playing it out the back the way we usually do, and we have to be neat and tidy and focus on our situations. I can't say this enough, Terry. If we lose this game, I think the tie's done. If we draw this game, I think the tie's done. The only way I'm going to feel any confidence going to the second tie is if we win this game convincingly. Because with Arsenal, this whole season has made me expect the unexpected, like Jess said. But I always hope for the best. And you know what? I'm gonna pick us to win, like I always do. But hopefully we can do it with a clean sheet, because that means we put ourselves under no pressure in the second leg.
How nervous are you though, mate? Like, are you legitimately?
This is the
already...
season. This is everything, Terry. I already said to you, I was pissed off after the Benfica first tie because you said to me, you know, your season's done. Go home. I'm still here. So you know what? And my voice is cracking because I'm tired and I'm sick. So guys, don't think I'm crying.
But the thing is that we'll be nervous in every single game. Like for me with Arsenal, it's like even when we play Sheffield at the weekend, I'm going to be nervous. Like because this team is just, you don't know who's going to show up. In regards to the who scored and certain players are doubtful, Smith Rowe, Saka, and Xhaka, they all trained. They'll all be ready. They even if they're, let's be real, even if they're like 70%, they're going to play in this game because we need our best players out there with some other players, you know, we know for sure won't be out there. So I think we should be able to get through this. But again, it doesn't matter if we're playing Sheffield, we're playing Liverpool, or we're playing Slavia Prague. Our butts are going to be tight. We don't know what's going to happen in this game. We could do anything. Like, it's Arsenal.
And I want to say something about what Gary Neville said. Gary Neville came out and said, oh, he feels like Arteta's starting to lose the dressing room. This guy's absolutely talking BS. Because did he watch?
I don't know where that's coming from.
That came from absolutely nowhere. International break, 2 weeks. They out of nowhere, they just forget about the game that we had 2 weeks before that against Spurs, where everyone was fighting for the manager. Everyone was absolutely putting in pressure. You know what? This clickbait friggin' media is starting to get me pissed off because that.
But you know what, Igal, coming from a Man United fan, yeah, I rarely take anything serious that Gary Neville says. So I'm with you on this one, bro. Like,
you can't.
Even when it comes to us, like I rarely take anything he says serious. So yeah, and
when it comes to dressing room.
When it comes to management, don't listen to what Gary Neville says because if he does say anything, just throw the Valencia thing at him and we'll shut up. That's it.
They'll chat shit anyway.
Do you know what it is though? With a lot of pundits, I think what we sometimes do is we listen to them because. Again, I like listening to their views from a player's perspective, you know, when they were in dressing rooms, etc., etc., etc. But half the time they give an opinion and people think it holds more weight because they know about football. They must know something that's actually going on at the football club. They don't. They have
exactly.
The thing is, Gary Neville he obviously can chat to people, right? But he doesn't know what's going on in that boardroom. The same as I don't, the same as Johnny doesn't, the same as Igal doesn't. So he's just giving an opinion, and he's no different. He's no different to Joe Blogs on Twitter giving an opinion on a subject matter that he has no insight. If he said, "I've spoke to X" or "I spoke to someone I know at the club and they've told me this," then maybe I'd give it a little bit more attention. But he's just given the opinion. I don't think Arteta's lost it. The one thing I would praise both Ole and Arteta on this season through the bad runs they've both had at times is I don't think either have lost their dressing room in terms of the players not wanting to work for them. And that tells me they're doing something right. Whether they're good enough in the long term is another matter. And that brings us on to Man United. We're up against Granada. I mean, no disrespect to them. I don't know a single player that plays for them. I haven't even bothered to research it. And I know how arrogant that sounds. I don't care about them. This is a game.
Now, to be fair, you do. Remember Soldado? He plays for them.
He does. Okay, so if I actually research, I know who he is. Soldado. That was that bum that Spurs, right?
Yeah. And remember that the guy that kept being sent out on loan from Chelsea, Kennedy, that Brazilian guy.
I do know now. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no research on them on
That's
purpose.
it. That's all I know. I'm as knowledgeable as you. Nothing.
I did no research on purpose because, in my opinion, I don't care who their manager is. I don't care about any of their players. I don't care about their history, their stadium, the weather. Man United, pound for pound, in every area, are stronger, bigger, faster, better. We have zero excuse but to win and to win well. Like over the 2 legs, if we're not winning by 4 clear goals completely, I'm almost going to feel like it's a failure.
I know
that's mad. That's mad. I said 4 goals as well.
Do you guys worry about your...
Go
ahead.
Sorry,
Jess.
I'm saying we might. Oh God, no, you go, Jess. You go, Jess.
I was just gonna say, do you guys worry about your ability to play in these kind of like knockout games and things like that? Because I know it's like a narrative that Ole can't get past semifinals, and you know, you guys are kind of, I don't know what it is. You guys are obviously a strong team, good in the league, but a little suspect when it comes to the knockout competitions. Do you think that where do you guys think that comes from? You know, because I can't put a finger on why you guys can't get further along in these competitions that you could clearly win, you know?
It's definitely a mentality issue with the squad, I think, because, you know, if it happens a couple of times, yeah, you can say, but it's happened. I think we've been knocked out of
every competition.
4 semi-finals and obviously quarter-final in FA Cup. So it's definitely there is a mentality issue there. I think we just seem to bottle it. But I think with this tie, I'd be very worried if we didn't get through against these. I'd be really concerned. I think this one we're quite comfortable. It's when we play against the more, popular teams. I don't know. Not popular on the team, but better teams.
I agree. A lot of people in the comments are saying, Terry, that they're too good for us to beat them by 4 clear goals. They're 9th in their league and they've lost 13 league games this year.
Not to mention what goals they've conceded.
You guys slapped Real Sociedad. So when it comes down to it, Granada is a lesser opposition than them. And honestly, I'm a little bit jealous of Manchester United in the sense that you guys have been able to come back, get all these victories in the league. I think 8 comebacks in the league when you guys conceded first goal. So many times where I see you guys like absolutely meltdown at like halftime, but then come back to win the game. It's like you guys have this it factor in your team that just is able to get you guys out of situations where other teams can't really look at themselves.
Quality.
And we don't have that.
Well, and that's why I agree. And that's why I look at Amy's point. There's a mentality issue. And I believe the mentality issue stems firstly from the football club and the fact there's no pressure on us to even win this tournament because the manager's getting a new deal without silverware. And then secondly, I think Ole is a good manager. And I mean good on the elite level spectrum. Man United need a manager who's already great or has the ability to become a great manager overall. And I think when you're good, it's that, and it's something I can't even explain properly. I can't articulate. I'm not a good enough orator to be able to explain it in a way, but it's making people remain calm and seize that moment when it really matters. And Man United have fouled on far too many gateways. This weekend was a good example of where we came good with an opportunity to give ourselves an extra insurance policy inside that top 4 with Chelsea and Tottenham losing games. But we just about got there against an average Brighton side where Danny, I never really seemed to be able to score goals. Welbeck popped up and went ahead first. And we've even this season, we've fouled so many. We got into a title race. We were in one. We just got there. We literally the race just started and we fell over. And we always seem to do it. And I do look at a lot of Ole for that because I think that's a manager's job. And that's the difference between the good, the excellent, the top class and the world class. It's just how often you get your teams over those finish lines. And when you think of Peps and Fergies and Klopps, they do it more often than not when they have a quality squad around them. And that's on Ole for me in terms of this team. No doubt about it at all.
From a rival perspective, I think it's kind of like we kind of want you guys to keep Ole as long as possible to keep you guys closer. If you guys got a better manager at any point, you would just blow more people out of the water. I think your quality is good enough to get you over the line in most games. But in order to get to that next level, like Terry already said, you need a better manager. That was always the thing with Lampard as well. As soon as they got Tuchel, I was like, well, there's that. They will get better. Because if you have quality and you mix it with a good manager, even if they don't win the league, they'll get a better tune out of what you guys have. And I don't think you guys are even getting 90% of what you guys can get out of this squad. You guys are a lot better than where you are to me, but it's Ole. So
I think you guys have a better squad.
If you just look at Ole a minute, right? Look at Ole when he was a player. Ole was, let's be honest, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way at all, he was a bit part player. He never tried to be a Van Nistelrooy or a Thierry or Henry. He never tried to be the main man. He was a sub. He was a sub. He was a very good sub, very effective sub, but he was a sub. He didn't have the mentality to be the best, right? And now he's the manager, and you wonder why our players are struggling. It's his mentality. He doesn't have the mentality.
I don't know about that. I mean, he was a very good player for us, and
he scored a lot of goals for us.
He's actually in the top 10 players in Premier League history for most goal contributions per minutes they played on the football pitch. He was a sensational player, and by the way, Sir Alex Ferguson, one of the greatest managers ever, was a bang average football player. So I don't think it equates, but I think it's do you know what I think Ole struggles with? It's his communication. So I don't really care for press conferences because it's 95% of the time it's media trained PR bullshit. Like this, every manager gives the same fucking answers. The difference is, excuse my language, the difference is Ole has zero charisma. He is boring, paint dry boring, beige. So I think in those moments, and that sometimes you hear stories of like it could be a great speech that Fergie gave or Pep gave, or sometimes it could just be the way they stand there in silence, lets you know how important something is. I don't think Ollie's just a bit magoo, like a bit sort of like no one really, no one disrespects him. They respect him, but I don't think he can speak and the room goes silent. They'll go silent for him because he's the manager. They respect him, but it isn't the case of, listen, the boss is about to speak. We need to know what he's saying. Where if Fergie walks in a room now, the room
Everyone's quiet.
The pin drop. Klopp talks. I shut my kids up. I'm like, oh, shush. Klopp, he ain't my manager. I want to listen to him, whether it's him ranting or it's him speaking calmly, because he's got gravitas. And I think that gravitas, that ability to galvanize people, is the one true thing missing from Ollie's leadership. And I look at Lampard as a great example. I don't think tactically he was asking his players to do too much different to what Tuchel is. I think Tuchel explains it better and it makes sense to the players, so they deliver. I sometimes I don't feel I don't think he was literally sitting in training. I know there was clips where he says knock it out wide and whip it in. That's a language thing, right? But there's this element of like these managers aren't sitting there in training saying, right, just do bleep tests, go on the treadmill, and then have a kickabout. They are doing more technical things, but it's how well you articulate. And we've all seen what's that show called? All or Nothing. Listening to Pep talk about football, I was like, Jesus Christ. So I watched an interview that Rio did with Tuchel months back. Just listening to Tuchel talk about football, I felt like I learned more in a 15-minute interview than I'd learned in the last 3 or 4 years watching the game. And I don't think Ollie can play and project himself in the same way as those great guys.
Sorry.
Go on, you go, Emma.
So like with the thing with Ollie, apparently he can be. I can't remember, one of the ex-players did say that he could be quite cutthroat at times in a dressing room. I can imagine that. I think with Ollie, I am on the fence a little bit. Actually, I'm on the fence a lot, I'm not going to lie. But I think his man management is excellent. We don't know what goes on in behind closed doors with Ollie. He might absolutely rip into him. Maybe that's why they're so good when they come back after halftime. We don't know, because he'll never throw his players on the bus. But I don't know, with Ollie, I do think he is a bit soft sometimes. It's like, did you ever read that he wouldn't park in Sir Alex Ferguson's car parking spot at Carrington because he didn't want to disrespect him? It's like, no, Ollie, you're the manager. You park in the manager's parking spot. Like, why are you being weird? Like, it's your parking spot, mate. Like, if I went to work and my manager was parking in, he wouldn't park in a certain because, like, the manager before, I'd be like, what's that all about?
But that's where he's over. So that story is an interesting one. So that's true, but it was only on the day that Fergie was visiting the training ground. It isn't everyone in it, but I hear where you're coming from, Aim. I thought it
was all the time.
No. I thought that until somebody told me. Until someone told me, it's only the day, and that I thought was respectful. But someone said, Terry, where's your evidence that he's not a good communicator? It's not. I don't need evidence. I'm giving you a hypothesis. It's my theory as to why things don't get over the line, and I'm basing it on how I hear and see him speak, if that makes sense. But it's an interesting one for me. Obviously, the game's go ahead tomorrow. What's your score/game predictions for Man United's game, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm good now. I said it just like you. I'm confident. I'm going to say 4-0. I'm not even going to... I don't think Granada will have... Well, they'll probably have opportunities, but we should have enough to not allow them to play their game. So I'm just going to say 4-0, to be honest with you, because we're playing away first, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we're playing away first. As long as we get them away goals, we're going to be fine.
There we go.
It's not just about winning either. It's about the way we win tomorrow. If we don't slap these tomorrow, I swear.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At least 4. That's what I'm saying. At least 4.
We need to be good. Johnny, what do you think is going to happen tomorrow night for United?
I fully expect them to slap the shit out of them. Anything. If we get a 1-0 win, I will lose my shit.
See, I don't mind a 1-0 win if their goalie has an amazing night, but we're playing well. I can take that, because you think if we scrape the 1-0 and it's like, you know, we rely on a Pogba screamer in the 88th minute, I won't be celebrating after he.
Yeah, because that's going to be an invitation to Granada to be like, yeah, come to Old Trafford and try and beat us. No.
Mark Goldbridge was on his United Stand show last night, and he said, fact checked it, they've conceded the most goals in the Liga. So if we don't put at least 4 past them, I'm telling you.
This is true, yeah. They conceded 49 goals and then 9. But the team bottom of the league, who 5 games, 49. And put that into context, if you look at sort of the Premier League,
that's a lot of goals.
Yeah, like Sheffield United have conceded 52 this year. We know how bad they are. West Brom have conceded 59. We know how bad they are. So it's, in fairness, how many Arsenal conceded? I mean, Arsenal, look how we dig into Arsenal, it's 35. Like, we're talking about a serious number of goals they've conceded. We should be slapping them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amy, what's your score prediction for United?
I think it's me 2-0 win. I don't think we're going to absolutely thrash them. I don't think our attackers have been that clinical recently, if I'm honest. But I think a 2-0 win away from home is more than enough. I know obviously it should be more, but I think it's going to be 2-0. I don't think. I'm hoping we see some of the the bench players come. Like I'd like to see Ahmed come off the bench. I'd like to see Donny as well. So they haven't really played much together. So I think it's going to be an excuse to sort of give the other players a run. And I don't think we're going to absolutely thrash them. No, we're nowhere near clinical.
When we beat Solskjaer, I think it was 4-0 away, was it? Was it 4-0? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, right?
Wait. You know what?
Started with his strongest team in the fucking return fixture with a 4-0 cushion shot. 4-0 shot.
You know what, Johnny?
Bruno and Rashford.
You know what, Johnny? Amy, you said 2-0, right? I think. Oh, you know what? I think I might go for 2-0 as well because I forgot we got Spurs on Sunday, so he might have that in the back of his head and try and rest players as well. Take players off a bit early. So I forgot about that. Yeah,
I'm saying 4. I'm saying I want to win by 4-goal margin over 2 legs. So I'd take a 2-0 away. That'd be pretty decent.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go for 2-0 as well because you'll rest players for Spurs on Sunday.
Jess, Arsenal's game. What are you going with?
2-1 Arsenal. I think we'll win, but we'll do something to make it way more interesting than it should be and have our butts tight on the second leg. So 2-1 for sure. I think that's I would go with that.
And Gal, where's your head at, bro?
Yo, for Glenn Kamara, I want a 7-0, but that's not going to happen. Right? Realistically speaking, I feel like we could get out of this with a clean sheet. And there's a lot of pressure on these players' mentality. When there's been a lot of pressure on them, they buckle. Hopefully, they can show it to tomorrow, and we can get out of there with a clean sheet and possibly a 3-0 victory. I would love that because that would mean the tie would be done. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing for both. I mean, you're not really worried about the league, but for both teams, get it done first tie. It means the second game you can rotate, you can kind of experiment maybe a little bit and stuff like that. But I get the feeling both games might be what we want and what reality is going to throw out for both our teams.
2 different things.
110%. But listen, everyone who's tuned in today, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Jess, let everyone know where they can find you on socials, please.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at It's Jacinho, and She Knows Arsenal is my show, and that's the same, Twitter handle for that show as well. So that's where you can find me.
Absolutely. Amy, can you let everyone know, please?
You can find me at Amy's United on Twitter.
There we go. Aaron, everyone knows who you are, but let everyone know where they can find you on social, brother.
Yeah, pretty easy. Mr. Aaron UTD everywhere. Make sure you follow me. Closing in on 10K, so if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that.
Get that done. Johnny, let everyone know your Twitter handle, bro, so they can see them rants, those daily rants.
Johnny FX1 on Twitter, and my YouTube channel is Johnny's United Talk. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Thank you.
And man, lucky gal. Not that you're new to this channel or anything like that, but let everyone know.
Yeah, guys, EGTV. I usually do previews after this show, so you can catch me there, EGTV, and also on Twitter at the KidEG.
There we go. Remember, we're live after FC Porto Chelsea tonight and Bayern Munich PSG. If there's a big shock result, we'll focus a bit on that. But
I'm on She Devils United as well. I'm so sorry, I forgot to say.
Oh yes, there we go.
I'm forgetting my main girls.
There we go. So we're live again tonight after that game. So make sure you're tuning in. Smash like button, share button, subscribe buttons as well. Keep your little nose out for a little release. Something that's coming out very, very soon. Little press release. But until then, take care. Goodbye. God bless, and we'll